Farmington High School choir. Thank you so much. I had such a wonderful time last night during your show. I so appreciate it. I am the goddess of radical self-love, and this is MECA, Make Everyone Count Always. We are a support network for radical self-love and self-care and master manifesting. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our family. For those of you who are just joining, make sure you hit the subscribe bell so you can get up-to-date videos each and every day. Thank you all, our returning family, for your likes, comments, shares, and donations. Yes, so we can reach as many of those who need to find radical self-love and self-care in their lives and become master manifestors, experts in all. Here at MECA, we, as our family, support and value those of us in our community who are the most vulnerable, our care receivers, and those who care for them, caregivers. When our community's most vulnerable and those who care for them feel valued and supported, the rest of us are assured we are valued and supported as well. Today is my favorite day, Freaky Friday. Be your full, true, self-actualized self. Yes, self-actualization. We're going to discuss what that means after we read our readings today. And of course, for today, self-actualization, right? Being conscious creators in all you do, and all you say, and all you are, right? From within. Let the world see your expression of who you really are in whatever fashion of ways that you would like, in the way you walk, in the way you talk, in the way you dress, paint, write, sing, work, whatever you want to do. Answer the phone, decorate your house, mow your lawn. Just put your signature on it, right? So today we are using, for our energy, follow your bliss. Conscious creation is following your bliss, right? By Joseph Campbell. Yes, I do love our special cards that are not available anymore. You can search for them on Amazon, though, if you would like. Not available for purchase anymore, though. So, we got 2 energy cards today. And they are psychological, which, for me at least, the energy recently has been very strained. It seems in Gemini season, the beginning, just full on bliss, right? And then it took this left. And it's like, now it's like up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's why it's so important to find our middle ground, right? But the communication has been kind of wonky with individuals. And really right now, during this time, it's kind of people have to show you who they really are. And it's funny because a while back, when I made my deal with the universe to be the conduit and a conduit, not the conduit, but a conduit for their use, right? And I had to let go of my selfish, my ego, basically. The deal was that in return that they would allow me to see people for who they really are and not how I would, look for the silver lining or within. Like I would see where they were today. And that is much different than seeing the possibilities of someone, right? Unless, of course, they're coming to me and would like my assistance in their growth, right? So the conscious queen, my daughter, she's much better at it because she's been doing it her whole life. So she can spot them right away. But, yeah. So if you guys have been feeling any of this kind of wonky energy, it will pass. Soon we'll be in our feelings. Because we will be in Cancer. And you all can be like me and cry every day. Change with the moon, right? There's nothing you can do that's more important than being fulfilled. You become a sign. You become a signal. Transparent to transcendence. In this way, you will find, live, and become a realization of your own personal myth. Pathway to bliss. There's nothing you can do that's more important than being fulfilled. You become a sign, right? To everyone. Womp, 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 womp. And people see that. And sometimes they want to utilize it without the correct energy exchange. And gotta get them out of there. Transparent to transcendence. Because in order to transcend, we have to go through self-actualization. We have to go through radical self-love so that we can be conscious creators. That is our job here, to be conscious creators, right? Second, that was Q, this is K. It is the function of art to carry us beyond speech to experience. Conscious creation. Carry us beyond speech to experience, which I will be working on my conscious creation for the next week. So this is the last time I will see you all for a week. I think I'm going to vape today since I'm quitting everything for a month, or suspending. Sorry if I am in any way offending you. Yeah. So, oh my gosh, this incense is really in my face. So, for the first time, since last July, face to face, I spoke with my baby daddy last night. I've talked to him, as you guys know, those of you who have been on here with me, supporting me as I do you. Only a couple times have I even talked to him on the phone. And then not only did I see him, but the conscious queen. And, you know, he helped raise her partially, like from 8 and up till just a couple years ago, right? And, well, really last year last time we spoke. Some things went down, and she was a witness, so it was a hard time. But he wouldn't even really acknowledge her or look at her. And I explained to her really that he's not as strong as us. Basically that he's so sad over the situation and really disappointed in himself that he can't look her in the eye. So it was pretty sad. And then I'm just talking about the energy lately still, because I need to, you know, this is my way of going within. Well, I have lots of them, but one of them. And so, you know, she was crying when we left or whatever. And we were at my son's last choir concert for the seniors, and he's not a senior, but a lot of his friends are, and it was very emotional. I could feel their happiness and sadness all at the same time. You know, those pinnacle moments of our lives, of their life, and witnessing it. But when I got home, I had given, before we left, I had given my ex this bag of paperwork, and I thought it had everything he needed in it. And he called when we got home and said that the main things that he wanted, like titles and shit, weren't in the bag. And he was getting really rowdy, and I'm like, that's everything, because I really believed it was. I was like, that's everything, you know, like everything's in that bag. I don't have anything else of yours. I don't want to have anything else of yours. Like, everything is in that bag. And so he kind of like was getting all stirred up and angry and yelling. So I politely said, I'm just letting you know that I'm hanging up now, because I want to be polite and I don't want to just slam down the phone or something, but I'm not going to be in this energy. And then literally right after I got off the phone and I was talking, you know, like upset about it, started losing my center, obviously, a bit, because my heart started racing and I could feel my body changing. And of course my guides whisper in my ear, look in that black trunk right there. And I'm like, seriously? Why couldn't you tell me this while I was on the phone? And I'm like, okay. So I take everything off, and there's the titles. And I must have thought that they were like in the bag, because they were next to those when I found the bag or whatever. So I call him back right away. But I tell him that I found them, and he starts in on whatever, you know, I knew you had to have them and this and that. And I'm like, you know what? Here's the deal. Can you, next time, instead of yelling at me, can you please just say, you know, this is another route you could have used. Like, could you possibly just check around instead of like insinuating that I would have done something to them? Because why would I have? Like, can you just think about my position as like, here, I'm giving you everything, all your other stuff that you had in this bag, and I'm not taking something else. I wouldn't do that, right? And could you just from now on, maybe like try to give me the benefit of the doubt instead of assuming that I do something to hurt you, right? Or like something ruthless. That wouldn't be my thing. That would be normally the other way around. So, my allergies. So, he didn't even acknowledge that I said it. And I said, from now on, never, from this point on, never, ever, ever speak to me like that again. Do you understand? And he acted like I never said it and just went on rambling about how he knew that I must have them and blah, 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 and how important they are. And I'm sure the reason I even got more upset than that, it was like, I just hung up the phone at that point, but I definitely came out, like, I was really upset and, like, going, why did I let him get me out of my center? And, like, before that, even when we were in the parking lot or whatever, he was saying, like, he was talking about his car, which is a really, really nice Suburban, like super nice, right? I mean, could be a limo, whatever. And he has several other cars as well. And I'm driving a car that he tells me not to drive up north because he's worried that it won't make it, while I'm driving his kids around in it. And he just decided now to give my other car back that still needs to be fixed. So, it just, like, I think all of it just made me so realize, like, how I was feeling. And last night was the way I had felt for like 12 years. I put myself through that. And where I'm not counted, what I had to say didn't make any difference. The way that he would treat the children is so dependent on himself. Like a lot of narcissistic tendencies, you know, like what I'm trying to say, I guess, is like when we were talking about yesterday's self-transcendence, in order to self-transcend, we have to love and value ourselves enough to be counted. And I've made a decision that for my own best interest, you know, I was upset that he wasn't talking to me for so long. How could you ghost me? I'm the mother of your children. But I didn't realize what a gift it was. Because his energy is just so destructive to my own that I can't be around him. I can't talk to him. It messes up and slows and stops my manifestations because I get thrown off and thinking about him or having these really, I mean, I literally get sick from it. So make everyone count always is definitely about self-transcendence. But make everyone count always must include you. It must include me. I count too. And if you're gonna not count me, it's not that I'm not gonna count you, but I'm not gonna be around you. I'm not gonna share my energy with you. You don't deserve it until you have healed yourself enough to be in my space, because I have work to do for so many people. And even if I love you, and I do, I love him, I love a lot of people that have hurt me. But they don't deserve until they have done the work on themselves to be in my space right now, unless they want to work on themselves. You know, I don't know if I should say even deserve, but I don't deserve to be in their space right now. I don't deserve it to myself. I must be the one who counts me. You must be the one who counts you first. That's radical self-love. You have to count yourself. Or else people are just going to walk all over you and use you and abuse you. And at the end, you're going to come out feeling empty. So now, oh, hi, my bluebird. Oh, thank you for coming right now. Hi, baby. Let me see if I can show you. Hi. Oh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so lucky. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't believe he came right now. I don't know. If you guys don't know the bluebird story, then just look up the bluebird video, okay? Yeah, it's one of my specials. So he's still here with us, sitting on a fence. It's so funny. He follows me around everywhere. Especially in the, like, this type of energy. It's so funny. Like, comes to fill me back up. So, in order to get to self-actualization, right, you have to go through loving yourself and being counted so that you can start believing in your creations. Or, actually, first, I shouldn't say that, because I went the other way around. So we can't always judge it off of that, right? It's different for everyone. So I would say if you're going through a hard time right now, try doing something that is art, for real. It is the function of art to carry us beyond speech to experience, right? If you're in a funk, create something that you believe speaks your true nature, right? Or whatever it is that you want to say without using words. Even if it has words in it, obvious. Because we're so used to only using our throat chakras to speak instead of to listen or to have another expression of ourselves. Try to use another means of expressing yourself today other than through your lips. Luckily for me, I get to do that for the rest of the day, and I'm super excited because it's so fun. I started on this huge project that I'm doing that I told you guys about while I'm taking the next week off, and I was really actually nervous about it, and I don't know why, because I know exactly what I'm doing. Bye, honey. But I was nervous for some reason, and it's like this weird thing that do I still not trust myself? I don't get it. Do I still not believe in myself after all of this, for real? Like, it's something I need to still pass through. And it's good that I'm able to see my blocks and my challenges now, because, like, we talked about yesterday that with the earth angels step in or role model father, adoptee father, you know, we all have issues that at times we cannot see. And the further up we get from passing by, let's say, our first 3 chakras, the higher we go. So, right, the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, into our heart chakra, our higher heart chakra, our throat chakra. So right when we're getting up into these areas, right, we're going to start being able to really see what's holding us back at times. And that will tell you a lot about somebody who can't see their own issues and who is causing pain and destruction in others' lives just by passing judgment even, right? So it's not that these people are evil, it's that they are in pain or illness. But most illnesses, I believe, even psychological ones, are all due to pain. So everything can be counted as when you're talking about especially like mental health, I think most can be counted as a time period, right? You're going through situational blah. It's a situational blah, right? Because you're stuck in something. You're in this stagnant energy that you don't see changing or isn't changing fast enough. So the creating and spending time outside with nature, working out, getting your blood flowing, all these things can definitely help. Sitting in meditation, right? Being around water, being in water would be even better. Spiritual baths, showers, you know, but you can't just step in the shower and think that, I mean, sometimes you'll feel better, but if you really make a conscious effort of releasing what no longer serves you down that drain, letting it all go, and then being washed by new, different, better, and more spiritual protection. Yes. So, we all must be counted, but you have to start with yourself, right? When I get into the ick from it, it's very difficult for me to connect with my guides because I'm going back down into those lower chakras, right? Even though they're all around me and they send me messages like our Blue Jay friend, right? To let me know. They put their hands on my shoulders. So, but it's hard for me to hear what they have to say other than they're here with me. Like, they're full, complete messages. So I have to allow for healing. And it's an intense healing because some of the pain inflicted was for so long, right? So it's like you almost have to start over again. So we'll see if when I get back to work, if I can be clear again. Because I worked really easy yesterday, even though I had been going through some yuck, and it made me happy. So it definitely took me out of that zone and was healing. But with my past relationship, that's like, it's like everything just came back in so heavy. But it's okay, I'll get it, don't worry. Do not ever worry about me, because I am the goddess of radical self-love. I know how to care for myself. Yes, I do. Thank you for all our guides being around me right now, and for them being around you as well. If you're going through any yucky, you can always contact me. After this week, when I have healed. Yeah. And I am going to make a whole thing in our description about helplines. So, national helplines for you all as well. See you. Let's go on with my boyfriend, because he makes me really happy. Maslow and Toward a Psychology of Being. Deficiency motivated and growth motivated perception. What may turn out to be the most important difference of all is the greater closeness of deficient satisfied people to the realm of being. Psychologists have never yet been able to claim this vague jurisdiction of philosophers, this area dimly seen by nevertheless having undoubted basis in reality. But it may now become feasible through the study of self-fulfilling individuals to have our eyes open to all sorts of basic insights, not instincts, old to the philosophers but new to us. For instance, I think our understanding of perception, and therefore a perceived world, would be much changed and enlarged if we study carefully the distinction between need interested and need disinterested or desireless perception. Because the latter is so much more concrete and less abstract and selective, it is possible for such a person to see more easily the intrinsic nature of the percept. Also, he can perceive simultaneously the opposites, the dichotomies, the polarities, the contradictions, and the incompatibilities. It gets easier to see those, right? When we have radical self-love and self-actualization, it gets easier to see what is not healthy around us and for us. You see the contrast much easier. It is as if less developed people lived in an Aristotelian world in which classes and concepts have sharp boundaries and are mutually exclusive and incompatible, e.g. male, female, selfish, unselfish, adult, child, kind, cruel, good, bad. A is A and everything else is not A in the Aristotelian logic, and never the twain shall meet. But seen by self-actualizing people is the fact that A and not A interpenetrate and are one. That any person is simultaneously good and bad, male and female, adult and child. One cannot place a whole person on a continuum, only an abstract aspect of a person. So, like I said, you can still love these people. I still love my ex, right? Wholeheartedly. I understand where he's at, though, which is not compatible with where I'm at right now. And it doesn't mean that we will never have a really good working parental relationship and possibly a friendship in the future, right? But if it's harmful, you cannot be around it. It's neither right, good nor bad, yeah. Like I said, I was getting upset on the phone. I was upset that I was losing my center. So I'm not all or nothing, right? There's always a ebb and flow. But you have to understand what makes that ebb and flow go down. You know what I mean? So, let's say, for instance, because I definitely used to be codependent, right? This is a really good example, I think. Let's say you're an alcoholic or you're recovering and you go out amongst people. Some people can do that because they have gone through that threshold of the time span that they needed. Like, I can be around smokers and it's whatever, right? I don't need a cigarette. But for some, they can't be around it because it will bring them back into this place. And then they'll have to fight those urges and go through it all over again, right? Like, it's unnecessary harm and can be avoided. So it's definitely not that I think that my ex or any of the other people that I know that I can't be around right now are bad. They're just still stuck in their deficiency needs. And when I'm around them, some of them that had a lot of influence over me, especially as when I was recovering codependent, right? It's easy to get pulled back down and have their words go sharply into me instead of going from the inside out, radical self-love, pushing that all away. Like, I don't have to push it all away. It just doesn't touch me, right? Because I'm surrounded by my own love. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. I'm surrounded by kind of a sphere of my own love, a protection of my own love. But some people, it's like the kryptonite that takes that shield away, right? Or environment. So we have to be very careful about what we choose, who we choose to be around, these things. But it doesn't mean it's black and white, right? I mean, all or nothing. One cannot place a whole person on a continuum, right? Only an abstract aspect of a person. And a lot of times they're not even aware. Like, he's not probably even aware of the actions, right? He's probably not trying to cause me pain and harm or whatnot. But I know a lot of it is his own neurosis. We may not be aware when we perceive in a need-determined way, but we certainly are aware of it when we ourselves are perceived in this way, e.g. simply as a money giver, a food supplier, a safety giver, someone to depend on, or as a waiter or other anonymous servant or means object, which we have discussed about our service industry workers, right? And how so many take them for granted, not for granted, but just don't treat them, don't value them and support them the way that they should be. When this happens, we don't like it at all. We want to be taken for ourselves as complete whole individuals. We dislike being perceived as useful objects or as tools. We dislike being used, which was the major issue this week before I even ran into, for the first time, my ex, right? Because I had an issue with being used and not receiving payment for work that I had completed. So stemming back all the way from April and having to argue and fight over somebody actually paying me. Like, I know my value. And I even made you a deal because we were supposed to be friends. Being self-actualizing people ordinarily do not have to abstract need gratifying qualities, nor see the person as a tool. It is much more possible for them to take a non-valuing, non-judging, non-interfering, non-condemning attitude towards others as a desirelessness, a choiceless awareness. Right? We're all the same. Everybody counts. Make everyone count always. We all hold value. There's no competition. Just be respectful and do the right thing. Why is that so difficult for people to do? I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, like, I'm just so shocked still that so many people do not know these basic things. That I don't know why I'm shocked. That's why I am in this position to teach it. But it's like, the only people who are going to understand what I'm saying are people who... Our Blue Jay keeps flying by. He's like, I see you. I see you. I see you. It's like, I understand it because I'm here for the people who are feeling like I was in that codependent wanting, like, they're me. They're just, if you're listening to this and you're not where I'm at, like, as in radical self-love, knowing your value, knowing your worth, and being a conscious creator, and like, you might be already up in self-transcendence where everybody counts. You do not judge people. You see everybody for equals, right? And you can see that some people are just sick and unhealthy, right? But you're not counting yourself first. So that's where I come in to help do that. Like, you count first. I'm not trying to say, like, I'm number one, because we're all number one, okay? We're all number one. So there's no number two shit. We're all number one. We have to be number one to ourselves, right? Number one. So that we can give the love and care that others deserve from a genuine place. So, but it still just gets me. I don't know why. I need to surpass that. I need to work on that. Sorry. This permits much clearer and more insightful perception and understanding of what is there. This is the kind of untangled and uninvolved, detached perception that surgeons and therapists are supposed to try for, and which self-actualizing people attain without trying for. So you see how now the Blue Jays are showing up. You see how being in the muck has brought me back to having, not to start over, obviously, but here I was talking about third person perception, right? Just the other day. And it's like lessons for me. You see, like, I needed to hear that just at that moment and just now in two totally different forms so that I can see what I'm doing. I'm not viewing it from the third person perception. So anytime I start feeling like that, I know what to do. Third person perception. Step out of it. Be the observer. Be the student. right? Like we talked about yesterday, being the student, how it helped change my life to be the student instead of being in it. Now I'm already starting to feel better. Wow, that's interesting. Thank you. Thank you, my boyfriend, Maslow. So, this kind of untangled and uninvolved detached perception that surgeons and therapists are supposed to try for, in which self-actualizing people attain without trying for. Especially when the structure of the person or object seen is difficult, subtle, and not obvious, is this difference in style of perception most important. Especially then must the perceiver have respect for the nature of the object. Perception must then be gentle, delicate, unintruding, undemanding, able to fit itself passively to the nature of things as water gently soaks into the crevices. Isn't that beautiful? I just love how he writes. So, also if you think about radical self-love as a third-person perception and making everyone count always, that's how we can see that you count too. You have to count too. As even in a third-person perspective, if you were watching someone attacking someone else, what would you do? You'd step in and say, no. This isn't going to happen, right? I won't let this happen. You're harming this person. So we have to remember that we have to step in at times when people are harming us as even a third person perspective and say, no, you can't hurt them like that. Even if it's you doing the harming, you have to be the observer, the third person perspective, right? And watching yourself, what you're doing to yourself to make sure you're caring for yourself in the best possible ways, right? Like a best friend, though someone you care deeply about. You have to make sure you're getting what you need. So radical self-love is gentle, delicate, unintruding, undemanding, able to fit itself passively to the nature of things as water gently soaks into the crevices. Oh, I love my boyfriend. It must not be the need-motivated kind of perception which shapes things in a blustering, overriding, exploiting, purposeful fashion in the manner of a butcher chopping apart a carcass, right? So that would be the third-person perspective of you saying, you're not good enough. You don't measure up. You suck at this. You suck at that. You don't look this way. You don't act this way and this way. Like judging yourself in a third person, which I used to do all the time, so I understand it. Sorry, like my boob itches. I think that's what society has taught us to do, though. And so we have to undo all that. All those lies we've been told to criticize ourselves instead of support ourselves, right? So we're undoing that here. We don't need that. We need gentle, delicate, unintruding, undemanding, able to fit itself passively to the nature of things as water gently soaks into the crevices. Yes. The most effective way to perceive the intrinsic nature of the world is to be more receptive than active. Receive. Determined as much as possible by the intrinsic organization of that which is perceived, and as little as possible by the nature of the perceiver. By the intrinsic organization of that which is perceived, and as little as possible by the nature of the perceiver. So when you're stepping out of it, you're not using your emotions, right? Because you're outside of it. Now you're seeing it for what it is without having those triggers, right? Because you're able to separate the two. This kind of detached, taoist, passive, non-interfering awareness of all the simultaneously existing aspects of the concrete has much in common with some descriptions of the aesthetic experience and of the mystic experience. The stress is the same. Do we see the real concrete world, or do we see our own system of rubrics, motives, expectations, and abstractions which we have projected onto the real world, right? So that would be like triggers, basically. If we can step outside of the emotions that tie us and bind us to, let's say, my ex, right? If we can step outside of it so that we're not triggered by the past of what we've designed in our head as this is the way it's always been and this is the way it will always be, and seeing those same things that remind us of the past, if we can step outside of it, then it won't have as much of you'll stay in your center. Thank you. See how much they're helping me? I mean, like, for real. You do realize what comes out of my mouth is not me, right? It's from here out. Thank you. Or to put it very bluntly, do we see or are we blind? What blinds you? What blinds me, right? I still believe, though, that we don't have to put ourselves in those situations if we're not ready for them, right? If we're still a work in progress and haven't, gotten to the point of, like, conscious queen style. Just kidding. I mean, there are times where she obviously as well, but gets thrown off. But let's say Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, whoever you want to use as your master ascendant, right? We haven't gotten to that point. We're still human beings, right? Humans are the ones who need work. We all need work. So what are you blinded by as a human? And it's going to be those triggers that pull you back, right? Or social programming, which are triggers. Social, familial, educational, media, all that stuff, right? Yeah. I think I'm going to wait on this one, even though I really want to read it. It's Needing Love and Unneeding Love, because I want to, it's just too good to taint with any of the discussions for today, I think. I named a drink that once. The taint. So funny. Sorry. That was in the old days. We don't talk like that anymore. Anyway, I hope you all have an amazing Freaky Friday. We're going to listen to my boy. Again. Remember, it's the new moon on Monday, so make sure you make clear manifestation intentions. What do you want to manifest in the next month, right? You can do a month, 3 months to 6 months. You can do that all different ways. I like to kind of go with the months. So basically April, May, yeah. I think this is our third new moon. If I'm not, well, of the astrological year. You can do it however you want, but normally I like to stay within like the month time. So how many new moons we've had since the first astrological new moon, which I think this is the third one. So I would do 3 manifestations, right? That's just what I do. You can do whatever you want. Obviously, you can do whatever you want. So I wish I could find the one I want, but I don't know which ones they are. So this one's a really good one. Yeah. I love you all. Thank you for your time. Yes, I'm so excited for this next week to get all my work done. Thank you, Farmington Choir, for a beautiful senior show, the last concert of the year. I hope all you radical self-love experts in self-care, and master manifestors find peace, joy, and prosperity in your lives. Happiness, love, self-transcendence. Go out there and be conscious creators. I want to see your works of art. I want to see your creations for the collective. Thank you for so much. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your support. So excited to work out here today. It's so beautiful. I love you all. Ta-ta now.